a tutorial for all of you music makers out there that use GarageBand. Hello guys, and welcome to another video. My name is squidud, and today I'm just going to be doing a tutorial for all of you music makers out there that use GarageBand. So sometimes people this is useful for coders as well, I guess. If you're making a video game or you're making music for a video game for somebody else, you want to have a cool soundtrack for that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Open an empty project, and when you get in here, select software instrument. So right now I'm going to show you how to get an 8-bit synthesizer, because GarageBand, you have very limited stuff. The thing that is as close as you can get to an 8-bit synth is the chiptune lead, and that doesn't, has too much distortion for me, maybe as a bass, but yeah. So what you're going to do to create this synthesizer, very simple. So download the sound effect that was in the description, and I drag it in this little corner here so you could easily drag it in. So got that to your desktop. Next step, what you want to do is make sure that your keyboard is selected. Click this little dial right there. Alright, so now you have this stuff. Don't worry about that. Just click the little I up in the top left corner. And click the arrow next to plugins. So you get all this. Do not worry. Just click instrument. Hover over UA instruments. Hover over Apple. Go to UA sampler. And then click stereo. So then this is going to pop up. It's pretty much like your keyboard. Just going to click show editor right there. Ignore all this and click this little black gear down here. So just click that gear and select add samples. Now you're going to go to your desktop and select that file and click open. But now, so now you can click it. You hear the 8-bit noise, but there's still this, which you can kind of hear the humming. Just click the minus key when you select that. So now you just have your 8-bit synthesizer, and you can exit out of that. So now we can, just to test it, go to musical typing. So you can play it just like anything else. You can do it with a MIDI board as well, but I'm just using my keyboard. So it works perfectly, and you won't have to do any editing on that sound effect that I have, because it's automatically at a C, which means everything is going to be tuned exactly to the right note. So that is step 1 complete. Another thing for video game music, and all electronic music for that matter, mostly video game music, everything has to be perfectly on beat or else it's annoying. So we're not going to be freehanding this. We're going to be using piano roll. So to do that, first of all, click the little dial again to remove that place, and hold the command key, so that just hold it down so this little pencil pops up. Keep holding, and then click right there, and then you can let go command. So now you have this little gray thing right there, which you can edit. You can drag it to as many measures as you want, even down to a beat. So you can, I'm just going to keep it at 1 measure for now. The other thing about video game music is you want it to be easily repetitive, because it doesn't, you don't know how long the player is going to be in a certain area. So just have it so that the creator can loop it and loop it and loop it like there's no tomorrow. So let's get started on the programming of the melody. So we're going to be doing like a normal town music, like chill, you're walking around in a trading center or something now, not boss music or anything. So basically to change the tempo, well, first let's listen to it. We just click this metronome up here and click play. Okay, so that's 120 beats per measure, or it's 120 beats per minute. We can double click 120 up here, delete, and we can put it to, let's try 200. That's pretty good. That's pretty good speed. And again, do not worry. You could make this at 1,000 beats per minute if you wanted to, because you're not going to be playing this. You're going to be doing piano roll. Okay. So now have this little green section selected, and click the scissors with the little wave format thingy there. Click that, and then you get this. So everything inside that green square is what you're editing right now. So that is measure 1, the beginning of measure 1 to the beginning of measure 2. So that's a full measure right there. So if you ever are not sure about what note you should do, you can always just click it right there, and it makes a sample sound for you. And in order to place notes rather, just hold Control so that the pencil pops up again. Say we want to place it on C3. We just click on the line lining up to C3, and there we go. So currently, our little note here is an eighth note, I believe. And so that means it lasts for half a count. We can make it a 16th note, or we can make it a quarter note. So that is a quarter note. So another thing with video game music is a lot of chords is usually good. So my secret for chords is usually a C or something. But the thing is, chords sound really good when there's one note in between the two notes of the chord. So what I like to do to keep that cool is, say we're doing a C, E chord. Then to make it cooler, I do the C down here, and then I do the E so that I have more of a little contrast there. Let's listen to that. See? It's just a little cooler sounding. And so we can repeat this if we want to. And there you go. Note that you have to hold Control to add anything. Okay. So now we can turn our metronome off. We always want to turn our metronome off after we listen to the tempo, because otherwise when you export it, you'll have the metronome in the background still. Okay. So we can loop this a couple times. Okay. So what I'm thinking is to loop this back to 2, copy it by clicking Command C, and pasting it and lining it up with measure 3 by pushing Command V. If you didn't know how to loop, you just hover your mouse over the right hand edge of the top of the track, just click and drag. Okay, so on this second copy here, we're just going to head back to our little editor and highlight all the notes. That's by clicking and dragging, and we're going to move this up 2 ticks. Now we can hear. Actually, I meant to switch those, but that's okay. Split that back, and there we go. So I think it would be cool if we went dun 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 dun. So like that. The second to last beat. Alright, so what we're going to have to do for that is to loop that back, copy that, and paste it right afterward. So then what we have to do is move this last one. Oops, sorry, before you do that, deselect everything by just clicking on a blank space. Move that up 1, move that up 2. Okay? So now, so we get, yeah, the whole thing sounds like this right now. that sounds really cool to me. If you ever want to know how it sounds looped, find this little arrowy button up here, select that, and then you can resize it to whatever you want, and that part will just be looped continuously. It should automatically go to the size of your largest track, so that's very loopable, I feel like. So now what we're going to do to make a lead track, we're just going to select this instrument here, push Command D to duplicate that track, so we don't have to do that whole instrument setup again. For now, we can turn off the looping feature, but that'll be useful when listening to our final product. So again, hit Command and the pencil and click there so that you have your new measure of workspace. And thinking of doing some high notes. Alright, so I'm just going to make a lead, and then I'll come in and show it to you when I finished it. Okay, so I changed my mind actually. I didn't really make a lead. I made a second set of chords, and basically this is my advanced chords. So I had C4 and C5 continuously repeating on quarter notes. So that may sound really complicated, but it's really not. That means you make a note and stretch it for 4 sections. And keep repeating that. All this whole chords here is all quarter notes. So you're going to do that for C5 and C4. And then on the second one, you're going to have the G above C4, and then the A above C4, and then back to the G above C4. And you're going to repeat that, and then basically I did the same thing we did up here, right here. I just moved it up 2 notches, and then I get this. That just adds a lot of depth. So now we can add some drums. There's one kit in specific that's really good for that kind of thing. It's in the electric drum kits, which is the Boutique 808. It's amazing. Well, don't do that. Just push plus and software instrument, create. Then you're going to go and select the Boutique 808, or Boutique 808, not 78. And then, basically, what we need to do is find the snare and bass drum. So, I believe it is C2. Oh, sorry, okay. It is C1. So, find C1. You have to scroll down. The lower you scroll, the lower the numbers. So, C1 is our kick, so we'll do kicks on every quarter note. So just 4 space long notes continuously across the whole measure. And we will do every other beat is going to be a snare drum. So right here, this D above C1 is going to be your snare drum. So dun, 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 dun. And if we wanted to, we could add hi-hats. Hi-hats are right here. So we can do some hi-hats. We can do some 8th note hi-hats. So hi-hat is that right there, that F sharp. So if we do that and to make it 2 of those long, we can make it like that. Oops. Drag that back, and always make sure your note lengths are perfectly in time, or else it will go bad. So we could do that, and can loop that off. And again, to see our final product, just click the loop button. so that's what it's going to be. So now to export, all you have to do is go to share and click export song to disk, and you can name it whatever you want. So I'm just going to name it Happy Town. You can name it whatever you want, and I'm just going to save it to, you can save it to wherever, and click export. And so there you have it. That's how to make a simple Happy Town video game song in GarageBand. So yeah.